Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own home? Like no matter what you did, it was never good enough? I know that feeling all too well. My name is Emily, and I'm 28 years old. But for most of my life, I wasn't Emily. I was just the other twin. I grew up in a house where love wasn't spread equally. My twin brother Ethan was the golden child. My parents believed he was destined for greatness, while I was just there. If Ethan got an A on a test, he was a genius. If I got an A, it was luck. If he wanted a birthday party, it was an event of the year. My birthday? An afterthought. As a child, I tried so hard to win their approval. I excelled in sports, but my parents didn't care. I made lots of friends, but they called me distracted. Ethan, on the other hand, was quiet, studious, and introverted. They praised him endlessly for his focus, while criticizing me for not being more like him. The only person who made me feel loved was my grandmother. She was my safe haven, the one who slipped me chocolates and a few dollars when no one was looking. "You're special, Emily," she'd whisper. But as a child, I didn't feel special. I felt invisible. And then Ethan decided that ruining my life wasn't enough. He needed to destroy my reputation too. It started small. Ethan would take something and blame it on me. My parents, already convinced I was the problem child, believed him without question. But when we turned 14, his lies became more sinister. He started spreading rumors at school, telling people I was aggressive, that I bullied him at home. And when words weren't enough, he created proof. He'd punch himself in the arm, give himself a black eye, then show up at school the next day claiming I had done it. People believed him. Even my best friends started to look at me differently. Invitations stopped. Whispered gossip replaced friendly hellos. Teachers, once kind, became cold and distant. Then came the worst day of my life. Our school principal called my parents and me into his office. Ethan sat across from me, looking scared, pretending to be the victim. And then, in front of everyone, he told the biggest lie of all. "Emily hits me at home. She's jealous of me. She takes out her anger by hurting me. I couldn't breathe." "That's not true," I shouted. But my parents didn't even hesitate. My mother burst into tears, clutching Ethan like he was some war hero. My father, he glared at me like I was a monster. The principal suspended me for 10 days. My parents didn't argue. They didn't even ask for my side of the story. They just dragged me home, and then my father did something I will never forget. He packed my bags. "You're not living in this house anymore," he said, his voice cold. "I won't allow a bully under my roof." I begged. I cried. I swore I was innocent. Ethan stood in the hallway, smirking, as my own father threw me out. The only person who saved me that night was my grandmother. She showed up, furious, and took me in. "You will never have to beg for love again," she told me. And for the first time, I believed her. Life with my grandmother wasn't easy, but at least I was safe. She encouraged me to focus on school, and despite everything, I graduated with good grades. College was a fresh start. No one knew me as the violent twin. No one whispered about me in the hallways. And most importantly, no one compared me to Ethan. I discovered a passion for writing. At first, I wrote just for myself, stories, poems, little things. But then I found freelancing. Companies would actually pay me to write for them. It started with small gigs, but soon I had clients from big brands. I made more money than I ever imagined, all on my own. By the time I graduated, I didn't need a corporate job. I had built a career doing what I loved. And for the first time in my life, I was free. I traveled. I saw the world. I worked from coffee shops in Paris, beaches in Bali, and tiny apartments in New York. The scars of my past were still there, but they didn't define me anymore. And then one day my phone rang. It was my mother. I hadn't spoken to my parents in years. Not once had they called to check on me. Not once had they apologized. So why now? Emily, we saw you on TV, she said excitedly. We're so proud of you. I was confused. Then I realized they had seen my interview. The one where I talked about my career, my success. And then she said it. We need your help. My father took the phone. The house needs renovations, and we don't have the money. Since you're doing well, we thought you could help. Your family out, I almost laughed. After everything they did to me, they wanted my money? I took a deep breath. I'll help, I said, on one condition. They eagerly agreed. You have to admit, in front of the whole family, that Ethan lied about me. You have to tell everyone the truth. Silence. Then my father scoffed. That's ridiculous. Emily. My mother tried to guilt-trip me. We raised you. We're your parents. You owe us. I hung up. The next day, I got a message from Ethan. Mom and Dad will never admit the truth. They love me, not you. Get over it. You're single and childless, so just give them the money and be a better daughter. That was the final straw. I wrote an email to my entire family. I told them everything. The years of neglect, the abuse, the lies. I attached Ethan's message, proving he had lied about me all those years ago. The response was explosive. Relatives who never knew the full story were horrified. My parents and Ethan tried to control the damage, but it was too late. They sent me threatening messages, so I got a lawyer to send them a cease and desist letter. After that, they stopped contacting me, and I was finally free. It's been 2 months since I last heard from my family, and I have no regrets. My career is thriving. My grandmother and I are closer than ever. And for the first time in my life, I'm seeing a therapist. To heal, to grow, to move on. I don't need a family that never loved me, because family isn't about blood, it's about love. And the only person in my life who ever truly loved me is still here. So to anyone reading this who has ever felt unloved, unwanted, or abandoned, you are not alone. And if you've ever wondered whether you should cut off toxic family members, do it. Choose yourself. You deserve better. Thank you for watching if you haven't subscribed. Yet please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.